as a marketer who has spent the last 13 years running experiments to understand why shoppers convert and don't convert, I'm going to share with you six core fundamental lessons. And I believe these are the only lessons you need to pay attention to. The first one is if you are investing in any kind of paid advertising, whether it's Facebook advertising or Google advertising, you need to recognize that your traffic, your paid traffic, is landing on the product page. And one of the mistakes that we make is we assume they land on the product page and they navigate the rest of the website to figure out who we are. This is actually not what people do. They come to the product page and then they decide in a split second if they are at the right page or not. And if they're not, they leave the website. So, for all practical purposes, your product page is your entire website. And you have to kind of think of it from that perspective. Lesson number two is that the average time on website is 2 minutes and 32 seconds. And this is based on a long term study. The other thing to keep in mind is that the average visitor, the return rate of the average visitor is 34%. So not only are people spending a short amount of time, relatively short amount of time, can you imagine how hard it must be to close a sale in 2.5 minutes? But we're also challenged with this question that if they leave, there is a 34% chance that they'll never come back. So keep that in mind, and that really does change how you think. The third lesson is that when paid traffic comes to your website, you're not the only person they're checking out. They have multiple tabs open, they have competing tabs open. So, your first job is actually not to convert them, that's your ultimate job. Your first and immediate job is to get them to ignore those other alternatives. So now let's move on to the fourth insight. The fourth insight is that we are living in a very specialized world. If I have a medical condition, I don't want to go to a general practitioner. I want to go to a specialist. And not just a specialist, I want to go to the best specialist for that specific type of problem that I'm dealing with. Consumers expect the same thing. So you want to make sure that you are demonstrating expertise about how you understand the problem that they're trying to solve, and your expertise in having tested every alternative before having discovered the one that you're selling right now. So, demonstration of expertise is a core aspect of what we focus on. The fifth insight is that there are two types of buyers. They are skimmers and diggers. And it's really important to understand the distinction between these two. Skimmers are looking for quick information, diggers are looking to dig, they want more details. So you want to make sure your product page isn't just written for a specific type of buyer or isn't trying to compromise and talk to both those buyers at the same time. It's just not possible. So the simple solution is on the product page, ask people, do you want a quick explanation? Do you want a detailed explanation? If they click on quick explanation, give them just the short detailed. If they click on detailed explanation, give them the detailed explanation, and you will see your conversion rates go up by 30%. And now we are ready to reveal the final insight, which is you must test radical ideas. Ideas that have very strong points of view. Don't be conservative. Don't try to placate and impress all audiences at the same time. Especially when you're testing, you're actually wanting to get a reaction out of shoppers. And so even if you don't want to implement a radical version, from a testing perspective, it's really, really important to test radical ideas. What I mean by radical ideas are ideas that have very strong points of view. So, for example, if I am selling a running shoe, in one version of my experiment, I would focus on the incredible difficulty of finding a good running shoe. Okay, so that's a very strong point of view. In another version of the experiment, I might focus on the incredible difficulty in constructing a perfect running shoe, how almost no one can do it, and you had to go through 47 prototypes to figure it out. Now, these are very strong points of view, and what will happen is that when people will look at it, they will react to it, and they will either react to it positively or negatively. But from your perspective, you're getting valuable data on what people care about. Versus if you were testing two ideas that were just, you'd made let's say the copy length was a little more, or maybe you had a little more graphics in this version versus this version, the differences from a practical shopper's perspective are very small, which means you need to have millions of shoppers or hundreds and thousands of shoppers to actually notice a 3% difference. However, If you test a strong point of view, people will react to it strongly, either positive or negative. But from the testing tool's perspective, any strong reaction is valuable, and all learnings are hidden in these strong reactions. So those are my six lessons. I have tons more insights, and I'm going to share some links in the video. I hope this helps.